In the book of Matthew, chapter 12, Jesus heals a bunch of people and he tells them to keep it secret. And kind of the secret of Jesus. Jesus often does this in the Gospels, is he tells people to keep the miracles that he's doing secret. Okay? And Matthew says that this is a fulfillment of a prophecy from Isaiah the prophet. Okay, so in verse 17 is, so in verse 16 says, and charge them that they should not make it known. So don't make it known that he healed them. Verse 17, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, behold my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved in whom my soul is well pleased. I will put my spirit upon him, and he shall show judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not strive nor cry, neither shall any man hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed shall he not break, and smoking flax shall he not quench, till he send forth judgment unto victory. And in his name shall the Gentiles trust. So here, the Isaiah's prophecy has a couple components. One, that Jesus Christ is going to be trusted in by the Gentiles, but also that he's not going to strive or cry or call a lot of attention to himself. And so that I can see easily how Jesus telling people not to make known the healing fulfills the striving and crying parts. But the people that he's healing did not consider themselves to be Gentiles. They considered themselves to be of the house of Israel. And later on, the Gentiles aren't brought in to this story. Occasionally there's a Roman or something that interacts with Jesus, but the Gentiles aren't really brought into the story until after Jesus's resurrection, when he tells Peter to bring the gospel to Cornelius and to his household. And nowadays, I think a lot of people wouldn't perceive, so I interpret the Gentiles to generally mean people of European descent. So Roman descent, British descent, Eastern European descent, maybe not Eastern European descent, but Western European descent. So most of the white America would be descended from the Gentiles. And I generally would consider them to be Gentiles. Gentiles can have lots of different definitions, but it's the Western kind of Christian world is largely Gentile in my view. And the children of Israel, the people who are of the children of Israel, depending on how you think of things, are people that aren't white Western people. So that's how I think that this would be fulfilled, which I don't think that people in Matthew's day would have perceived it that way. But I think that that's how this is fulfilled, is generally the white Western Christian world believes in the Gentiles. And now there's several prophecies, both in the Book of Mormon and also not in the Book of Mormon, that says that at some point the situation is going to reverse and the gospel is going to come back to the children of Israel. And that the restoration of the gospel through Joseph Smith is a part of that process, where the gospel, inasmuch as the Gentiles stop believing in the gospel, stop believing in Christ, they will lose blessings, and the children of Israel will be among them like a lion among sheep, a young lion among sheep, and that the non-white European historically Christian populations are going to be at the mercy of the children of Israel, which in Latter-day Saint theology often means Latinos, people of Native American descent. It could also mean the Jewish people in Israel. It could mean Middle Eastern people and lots of other people also who joined the Church of Jesus Christ and are adopted into the house of Israel. will become dominant in that case, and they cease from becoming Gentiles and they become members of the house of Israel.